and gentlemen, Donald Trump has accused Adam Schiff of mortgage fraud, falsely listing a Maryland home as his primary residence to get beneficial interest rates, which is quite literally, that's mortgage fraud. It's very similar to what we've seen of Letitia James, sparking questions about whether or not Donald Trump is actually going to go after the J6 committee and these other politicians in a manner by which you would target them for corrupt activities. Or is it going to be Trump playing a very similar lawfare game that Democrats played, where you show me the man and I'll show you the crime? Now, to be fair, if Adam Schiff actually did this, if Letitia James actually did this, then they did commit crimes. And by all means, you get charged for it. As it pertains to Donald Trump, I saw this viral post today where a young woman was trying to explain the 34 felony charges. Only problem, they're all fake. And they're not. I feel like this is the challenge for us. Explaining these things is challenging and is difficult. A lot of people just see beyond the statute of limitations. All he did was pay off, Stormy Daniels. The story is this. If you want to accuse Trump of a crime, by all means. If you want to accuse him of falsifying business records, by all means. But where the issue arises is that they elevated the misdemeanors to felonies, citing an underlying crime for which the government has never proven. The U.S. government, the state governments do not have the authority to declare a crime happened unless they prove it beyond a reasonable doubt. So for the upgrading of misdemeanors to felonies, they never had the predicate convictions to actually claim, nor did they propose it in the trial itself. If they had said Trump committed X crime and then falsified records in furtherance of that crime, and then asked the jury to convict on those grounds, I'd say, okay, well, you got a felony charge there. Even knowing that the jurors were going to convict Trump no matter what. They didn't even do that. So it seems now, with Trump making these accusations of mortgage fraud, the direction that we're going, my friends, is perhaps lawfare. And you know what's funny is it's Pulte, it's Bill Pulte, who's actually delivering Trump the crimes of these individuals, which I find kind of funny. Like they're finding these mortgage fraud cases. Now, but my friends, before we get into this, we got a great sponsor for you. It is Bearskin. Check out BAER.skin/Tim. And check out, they got these great jackets. No, I usually have them on. It's in the other, it's over there right now. I usually have them on. I don't have it on right now. But you've got these amazing 3-in-1. You've got this, what do they call it? 2.5 layer design, hiking grade waterproof outer shell, zips into the fleece, which is warm and very comfortable. Not to mention it looks cool, and you see me wearing it in actually quite a bit of my thumbnails, and usually wear it on the show. We keep the studio cold and cool and crisp, because we have these cameras all running 4K and they overheat. It's funny because people are like, Tim runs the studio too cold. It's like, well, we let the studio get warm once. And you guys, if you were watching the show, you saw the camera shut off. And then I had to go get a fan and put on the camera. And I told the crew, like, just keep the studio cold. And I will wear this amazing bearskin tactical hoodie. So I want to give a shout out. They sent us a bunch of these. They're really awesome. You can text Tim to 36912 or go to BAER.skin/Tim and get this. Right now, you'll get 60% off. And when you text that number, they'll send you a link so that you can, if you're driving your car right now or you're listening and you don't have time, they're going to send you that link and you can click it at any point, go back and buy it. Brilliant move. Check this out. They've got stash pockets, can fold right into itself. Very cool. It takes up barely any space. 100% fully waterproof. Taped seams, silicone-based sealed zips, adjustable cuffs, face shielding hood. 5 waterproof pockets, keeps your gear bone dry. It zips right into the hoodie, this outer shell, and you get free U.S. shipping. So once again, text Tim to 36912 or go to BAER.skin/Tim. Pick it up. Shout out. We really do appreciate you guys, Bearskin. Also, my friends, we've got this. The Culture War Podcast Live. Here we go, baby. Gavin McInnes, Matan, Alex Stein, Tim Pool on stage having that discussion. Is Trump still winning? His approval rating is slipping, but people are pretty happy about what he's doing with immigration, despite his approval rating now being underwater. However, you got the Epstein case. So there's questions about where we're currently going. We have an unnamed high-profile liberal personality we're hoping will confirm with us. We can't say it until we do, but I believe the moment he says he's coming, if he does come, fingers crossed, I think this show sells out instantly. So go to dccomedyloft.com in the events, July 26th. And I don't know if we have the link in the description below right now, but it will be there. So if it's there, click it and check it out. In the meantime, let's jump to the story here from The Independent. Trump accused impeachment leader Schiff of mortgage fraud over Maryland home he keeps while repping California. You can't do this. President Donald Trump on Tuesday suggested that California Senator Adam Schiff can be prosecuted for what he described as mortgage fraud, as he claimed his longtime political foe has broken the law by previously claiming a home in suburban Maryland as a primary residence. Writing on Truth Social, the president claimed he'd been given information from the federally backed mortgage lender Fannie Mae indicating that Schiff, who led the investigation leading to his first impeachment trial while chairing the House Intelligence Committee, quote, has engaged in a sustained pattern of possible mortgage fraud. He accused the first-term senator of having falsely claimed a Potomac, Maryland house he has owned for decades as a primary residence while representing California in Congress, thereby gaining a more favorable interest rate than he otherwise would have been entitled to. Quote, Adam Schiff said his primary residence was in Maryland to get a cheaper mortgage and rip off America when he must live in California because he was a congressman from California. I always knew Adam Schiff was a crook. The president added that the alleged fraud ran from a 2009 refinancing of Schiff's Maryland house until he designated it as a second home in 2020. Schiff has repped California in Washington since 2001, and for almost all of that time has kept a home in Maryland, where he has lived with his wife and where his children have attended public schools in Montgomery County, Maryland School District. He also keeps a condominium in Burbank, California, which is part of his former Los Angeles area house district. The only reason this man listed Maryland as a second home was because he wanted to be a senator. He ran for the Senate and he won. And that is the game they're playing. I think it goes beyond just mortgage fraud. He was living in Maryland. His kids were going to school in Maryland. I think that Adam Schiff was lying when he was claiming to represent California. And I think that that needs to be brought up in some capacity, that the mortgage fraud is secondary. It's secondary. They say it was once common for House Senate members to bring their families to Washington before the practice was turned into fodder for campaign attacks by Republicans during the 94 midterm elections. In recent years, most members have kept their families back home for fear of political fallout, with some going so far as to sleep in their offices to avoid establishing any roots in the nation's capital. I don't know that you should be living in the capital. Many people have pointed out that being in Congress is a full-time job, and I can respect that it is. You get paid $174,000 a year, and you need to be able to rent a place to live in D.C. Whew, good luck, and afford your home where afford your house back in the district you're representing. That's tough, especially with a couple of kids. $174K a year sounds like a lot. Not if you have to maintain 2 residences. Then it actually becomes quite a bit challenging. I'd make the argument that members of Congress perhaps should have to make the median. I like this argument. I don't know if it actually works, but the argument is congressional salaries should be tied to the middle class median or the median salary in this country. So if the average person's getting 65, I think it might be around, then that's what you get in Congress. Take it or leave it. The problem is many people say, yeah, but then you only get millionaires in Congress because they don't need the salary. Fair point. Is the argument then that we should give members of Congress large salaries? Nobody wants to do that either. They go to mention Schiff's ownership of the Maryland property was reported on during a Senate campaign by CNN, which at the time reported that then House member wasn't likely to face any legal repercussions because the law at issue is ambiguous when it comes to the definition of a primary residence. His office did not immediately respond to a request for comment from The Independent. But Marisol Samayo, Schiff's spokesperson during the campaign and his current press secretary, told CNN last year that he has claimed both his properties as primary residence for mortgage purposes because they are both occupied throughout the year and to distinguish them from a vacation property. I ain't playing that game. I ain't playing that game. Do we have the Letitia James story? We have the Democrats who have been arrested. I'm pretty sure I have the, here we go. Is this it? DOJ opens criminal investigation into New York Attorney General Letitia James over mortgage fraud claims. I do not believe it is fair that you can claim two primary residences, get preferred mortgage rates, despite the fact you're supposed to be living in California where you represent a district and you're the senator, because you're going to argue work has me go other places. Nah, look, I don't play this game. Now, I certainly think this is not going to go far because the argument from Schiff is I claimed it as a primary residence because I was working in D.C. half the year. And so what was I supposed to say? It was a second home? That would be a lie too. I say, no. It is a second home. It should be listed as a second home. Don't list it as a vacation property. I think that's a game he's playing because your primary residence is where you actually live. Okay? And that must be, in my opinion, where you're representing. If you're in Congress, your district. If you're a senator, in your state. Moving your entire family to Maryland, having them go to school there, clearly shows you have no ties to the community you're supposed to represent. You don't actually live there. And I think the family thing really hits the nail on the head with the hammer. He wanted better mortgage rates. So I myself, believe it or not, I have multiple properties. I do. And when I think I only have I think I have 2 mortgages. They ask me, do you live? Is this your primary residence? Okay, well, one of these properties we do use, don't live there. So we said, no, it's not. It's not a primary residence. I said, okay, then what is it? It's a second home, second property. We will occupy. And we've talked to the mortgage people about this. We intend to occupy this property. We don't know how often they'll be there. And they said, okay, that's not a primary residence for the purpose of mortgages. We're not going to list it as a commercial mortgage or whatever, but we're not going to get favorable interest rates. And I said, whatever, it is what it is. So they're playing these games. They want to get away with this stuff. But let me add the cherry on top. By all means, make the argument. This is lawfare. Trump is simply going after them because it's show me the man and I'll show you the crime. And I'm going to respond with, wow, I don't like that at all. But is that not the standard by which Democrats have decided this will be? Letitia James, she's the one who opened the door on the lawfare. What do you expect? Okay, you reap what you have sown. Letitia James, Adam Schiff, do you want to play these lawfare games, falsely accuse Trump of crimes? This is what you get. Okay, I get. What am I supposed to say about it? Am I supposed to be upset that Democrats are now tasting the medicine for which they have delivered? Yeah, I'm not playing that. The question, I suppose, is how far is Trump going to actually go in dealing with the corruption? Now, we got this from NBC News. Rogue Trump impeachment efforts divide House Democrats. Democratic leaders have tried to squash impeachment pushes from rank and file lawmakers as progressives urge the party to fight harder against Trump. Yeah, Democrats are wild. They're still trying to impeach Trump. And I got to tell you right now, there's no leadership. I will say probably the best Democrat's Ro Khanna, hands down. He came on Timcast IRL. He's been very kind to me. He said that I'm sincere and that I'm fair. And I'm like, wow. I actually, I appreciate it. Maybe he's trying to butter me up, but I'll take it. He's trying, right? He's trying to speak to me saying there's something we can accomplish. The Democrats have no leadership. Hakeem Jeffries is no good. They're defending illegal immigrants. They bolstered their electoral vote count and congressional count with illegal immigrants. I ain't playing that game, okay? Right? We have found some common ground in the Epstein stuff, but I ain't playing that game where, the Democrats deserve to just get away with everything they had done. Moving forward, I wonder who will take the mantle for the Democratic Party. Newsom is not the guy. Suppose we'll see. In the meantime, it goes beyond just mortgage fraud. FBI reportedly probing deep state anti-Trump conspiracy stretching back to Russiagate. Now, I'll tell you what I like. I like Kash Patel, Dan Bongino. I like Pam Bondi. I see, Laura Loomer coming out heavy against Pam Bondi, saying she's doing a real bad job. And I don't know. I guess forgive me. I'm the milquetoast fence sitter. I like these guys. I don't know what they can accomplish. And I'm not going to sit here and throw the baby out with the bathwater and say the Epstein case is a deal breaker. It's bad, and it's very, very bad. And it means I'm likely skeptical, and I don't know how much I can trust these people. But I want wins. So I'm not going to be obstructive if they're going after this corruption that targeted Donald Trump. I would love nothing more than to see normalcy return to this country, to see the debates once again. I want to see Democrats getting up there with real leadership and making legitimate arguments for sound policy, not advocating sterilizing kids. Okay? Right? I want to see sound debates on tax policy and how we solve the problems of this country and why we shouldn't be funding certain wars. And by all means, the people who think we should be, let's debate it. Instead, Democrats tried to imprison Trump. They arrested him several times. They arrested his lawyers. And that is apocalyptic. So they say that I'm hyper-partisan to the right or whatever. And it's like, listen, these things literally happened. I don't know what, and I have opinions on politics. I wouldn't call hyper-partisan right. This is the craziest thing. That's why, you know, forgive me, Ro Khanna is clever to butter me up and say you've been sincere and fair. I don't see my positions, and I think y'all agree, this position we're taking, that Kash Patel should go after those who engage in this conspiracy. It's not right or left. It is not conservative or liberal. It is. They engaged in lawfare against Trump. They should be held accountable. That's why I'm not the biggest fan of targeting Letitia James or Schiff on mortgage fraud, because it feels like lawfare. But I'm going to tell you this. You expect me to cry about it? If the system has devolved to this state, what can I really say? But I guess this is the way things are now. And it certainly wasn't the Republicans who started that. And it makes no sense for Republicans to sit back and just get beaten over the head by Democrats seeking to put them in prison. So congratulations, Democrats. You've created this system. They say the Trump admin's reported probe spans from the FBI's weaponization of false claims of Russian collusion. Just the News reported Sunday, citing, they say that 2016, classified documents, Just the News reported. Special counsel Jack Smith delivered remarks on a recently unsealed indictment, including 4 felony counts against former President Trump at the DOJ on August 1st, 23 in D.C. The Trump admin launched the inquiry several weeks ago under FBI Director Kash Patel, Just the News reported. The FBI did not respond to the Daily Caller News Foundation's request for comment. 2 troves of classified evidence could be key to jumpstarting the probe if Trump declassifies them. According to Just the News' sources, the Trump administration possesses potentially relevant evidence in classified records that may show the FBI ignored wrongdoing in its probe of former Democratic presidential candidate Hillary Clinton for improperly using a private email server as Secretary of State to share sensitive government information. Federal officials under former President Obama began investigating claims that Trump colluded with Russia to win the presidency on faulty intelligence funded by Clinton's campaign and the DNC. The probe involved multiple attempts to surveil Trump and his 2016 campaign, and former special counsel John Durham later found such efforts to be factually baseless in a lengthy 2023 report. I'm sorry, guys. I'm not going to be the one to wear the one ring. We stand on the cliffs of Mount Doom, and you've got the Epstein files, lawfare, etc. And the argument is, for many Trump supporters, you know, Charlie Kirk's getting a lot of flack for this, and I respect Charlie greatly. I do. He said, I trust my friends in governments to handle this and do the right thing, and so I'm going to leave it at that. That's the call from the Trump admin. Do you trust the Trump administration? There are a lot of people who immediately just said no. There are a lot of people saying trust the plan. I'm not gonna, the argument is with the Epstein stuff. It's Trump standing at Mount Doom, and he's saying, he's got half his base saying cast it in the fire, and he says no, and he won't, because it's to give up a lot of power, and we don't know what's behind that. I'm never going to advocate for the use of that power, nor am I going to advocate overtly for lawfare against Adam Schiff. I want Adam Schiff brought to justice for crimes he committed. Right? I want him to be held accountable for the fraud against the American people in whatever way that takes shape. I don't want him to be charged with mortgage fraud and just have this silly game. Again, I'm not going to defend the guy. I ain't going to come out and say, Trump, don't stop. I'm going to be like, well, play with fire, I guess. I'm done defending evil people who do evil things. What I am going to say is that what I believe should be done and what we should be doing is legitimately investigating Comey, Russiagate, as Kash and Dan are doing, and bring those people to justice and prove to the American people where that happened. And maybe somehow we can claw back some cultural unity in this country. I don't know. But that's what I hope for. My friends, we're going to wrap it up there. Smash the like button. Share the show with everyone. But we're going to grab your comments and Rumble rants. The show is out of order today, so it is what it is. But I do appreciate you guys for everything you do. Join us at the DC Comedy Loft. You will not regret it. August 2nd, we got Michael Mouse. Here's our plans. The 26th, we got Gavin McInnes, Matan, and potentially a liberal who's yet to be named because we're telling him, like, come on, bro. And people are going to laugh. They're going to be like, this is going to be nuts. I think it'll be great. And we want them to do it. We're telling these liberals, listen, it's going to be contentious. People are going to act the fool, but we want it to be funny. Like, we know we disagree. But when we did the pilot show, we had this liberal Pisco guy, and he's a fervent, raging liberal. But we laughed. And even though one dude was screaming at him, he gave me a fist bump when I mocked him, and we joked and we laughed. We want to disagree, but we want the disagreements to be communal. We want to be neighbors. We want to disagree, but we don't want to be trying to, beat each other's throats. So we're telling these liberal guys, you're going to come, and we want to laugh with you. We want to disagree with you. We want to tell you you're wrong. We want you to tell us we're wrong. We want to prove that we're right. Of course, you want to prove you're right. But we want to be laughing, and we want to encourage this conversation. So that's the 26th DC Comedy Loft. Then we've got Angry Cops and Michael Malice. That's just going to be a laugh riot. I mean, Malice he supports Trump, and Angry Cops supports Trump, but they disagree on the issue of police, and they're both really funny. So I think we've mostly sold. We're close to selling out of that August 2nd show. Let me pull this up again. DC Comedy Loft, August 2nd, I think is close to selling out. Okay. Preferred seating is sold out. General admission, $29.50, still available. 2-item minimum, but it could be any combination of food items. I'm stoked because DC Comedy Loft has got chicken wings. August 9th, I was talking with Myron Gaines the other day about this, and I think we are lining up a Feminism is Destroying the West live debate. So I think that's going to be the August 9th event, which is a month and a half away. And then, we did one pilot. We're gearing up to do 3 more episodes live at DC Comedy Loft. These are 200-seat venues. It's going to be, we want it to be real fun and funny, and we think it's going to be a riot. We're doing members-only after shows where you will get 2 free drinks, and we've got a venue I think we've planned out and ready to go. And so the idea is each of these shows has 30 guaranteed seats free for members. So if you're a member of Timcast.com's Discord community, first come, first serve, preferred seating. You click it, boom, you're right there up front. We have the back seating and tickets because we're trying to make it so that we can actually do shows that sustain themselves. We're losing money on all the shows, mind you. But it's because it's a pre-taping for the show we then put up live, but we want liberals to come too. After the show, however, if you want to attend the members-only hangout, all you got to do is become a member. And that $10 you spend to become a member, you get 2 free drinks as it is. So heck, why not? And we want you to join. So we're really excited for this. We're going to try out these 3. And then if that works, we are potentially going to be doing this every single week. I will say I'm inspired by Jubilee. I'm inspired by Kill Tony. Kill Tony is one of the best shows out there. It is absolutely hilarious, but it's comedy. And it's a comedy stand-up format. And I'm like, that's really cool. I could never do anything like that. I'm not a stand-up comedian. But then you got Jubilee, bringing in the audience, regular people to debate prominent individuals. The only problem is no one actually gets a chance to debate. So I said, can we combine this? So here's the game plan. 26, is Trump still winning? Liberal, conservative, or otherwise. You guys come in as audience members. We're actually going to let you come up and sit down on stage with us and debate. Be involved with all these individuals. Be on the show. Maybe it'll be your big break. This will be the moment you come out and people say, this guy's smart. The second, policing. Once again, if you're in the audience, I'm hoping we get more liberals to show up. We want them to show up and debate cops. We need these ideas out there. And then, of course, August 9th, I believe we're leaning towards Feminism is Destroying the West as the debate topic. We've got a great liberal personality, a woman, feminist. It'll be fun. Myron, I believe, is potentially, I think he is on board for this. It's going to be fun. And I think we're looking at one more, but then also you as members of the audience coming up and joining and being on that debate. See, the thing about Jubilee, which is good, is bringing people into the debate. The bad thing is everyone just waves the flag and then you're kicked off before you actually get to finish your thoughts. So we want to give you more of an opportunity. So So I said I was going to grab comments. I didn't. We'll grab a couple before we go. JG Sturdivant says, I think it's highly likely whoever was behind Epstein had a plan B, and it's so much worse. It could even go as far as terror attacks. Foreign intelligence could have snuck bombs into metro areas. Pinochet says, nobody asked for victims' evidence. There's not enough private security or federal law enforcement in the world to protect Epstein's associates, and it's not the government's damn job. Real Rat Dog says, never trust the government. Here we are. The bifurcation is conservatarian, conservative Trump supporter. Charlie Kirk's a great example. Hey, man, I understand where Charlie's coming from. I do. When it's your friends in government, you trust them. And you say, please just make sure you protect America and have right by us. The conservatarians who voted for Trump because they want the establishment to be gutted are saying, no excuses, gut the machine. I'm kind of in the middle on that one. I lean towards release it, do it, no excuses. But I get it. Some people are going to say, don't bend the knee, don't let them get away with it. I agree with that sentiment. I'm also trying to be as effective as possible. I understand Charlie is making that same decision. You can sacrifice the power you have, or you can try and work to the best of your ability to get as many victories as possible. I'm always going to tell you this, my friends. I'm a reformer, not a revolutionary. If the files were in my hand, I would publish them. I admit there may be some circumstances where I wouldn't like. In the rare circumstance, publishing it triggers a bunch of nuclear detonations that wipes out all of mankind. Okay, sure, but that's not reality. It's not going to happen. If it's political backlash, fallout, and international crises, I'm publishing it. That's my thing. That's why they're not going to let me anywhere near the seats of power. You know what I mean? That being said, I'm not going to come out and say things I don't know. I will do my best to work with the administration to get as many victories as we can for the American people, protect this country. And that will mean I will continue to advocate for the release of these files and for the criminals to be prosecuted. And I'm not going to tolerate these excuses. What more can I do beyond that? So I'll do it. And I'll ask them. And I look forward to having Cash Dan or anybody else come on the show and defend their position. And I'm not the kind of guy who's going to grill them for the sake of grilling. To my own detriment, I suppose. I had a viral video where I was yelling at a liberal on J6. 20, 30, 40 million views. Everyone's cheering me on. I'm seeing people in the street like, bro, that clip was amazing. And I'm like, I know, because I was yelling at a liberal. That's not really me for the most part. So, if that's the firebrand people are looking for, it's what you're going to get, not from me. But I'm going to do my best. You know my position on this. Anyway, I'm going to wrap it up there. Let's get that raid over to our friend Russell Brand, who should be live now. Let's pull up his channel, and he is currently live. Guys, I really do appreciate all your support. Thank you so much for hanging out and supporting the work that we do here. Follow me on X and Instagram at Timcast. Subscribe to this channel. Click the like button. Share it with everybody. It really, really does help. Word of mouth is powerful, but algorithms, man, they're hard to beat. Let's get you guys on your way to the next show in the Rumble Morning lineup with our friend Russell Brand. He's got the AutoPen scandal story going now, and that raid is gearing up. Everybody's tuning in right now all of a sudden as the show begins to wrap up. But shout out to Rep. Kana. I really do appreciate him coming on and explaining his position. And I am accepting and a little bit remorseful. I don't want to apologize because I feel like when I saw his amendment as he asked it, I was justified. But I can respect him coming out saying, I did not mean that. Okay. I appreciate it, and I want those files released, so I'm glad it's coming out somewhere. That being said, I'm going to say this. I don't think Democrats are going to vote for it. So, my friends, join our Discord server. Come to the live events. Get on and come and debate us. We're filming it all. Bring your debate. Say whatever you want. Obviously, if people say crazy stuff, you're going to get some pushback or whatever. This is a public venue with people walking around, right? We don't want to start a riot in a comedy club, but we want to have fun. So I'm going to leave it there, my friends. Smash that like button. Share the show. Follow me on X and Instagram at Timcast. I'm sitting here watching the view count skyrocket. I'm trying to wrap the show up. Guys, go watch Russell Brand. Thank you so much, and we'll see you all tonight at 8 p.m. Timcast IRL. It's going to be fun.